He's called me a slut numerous times on this podcast.
Well, just because of the stories you tell and the way you behave.
Yeah, which is valid. So. Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of The Rubber Room, the show where we talk about all things sexy, shiny, and sinful. My name is Kable, and I cast Fireball.
And my name's Romeo, and a man, a plan, a canal, Panama reads the same backwards as it does forwards.
It's very educational,
Anytime.
as always. A word of warning, as always, with this podcast, we'll be talking about a range of kinks, some safer than others. So whenever talking and playing about with kink, make sure you stay safe, get consent, but most importantly, have fun. We want to do a shout out for our host today, the Eagle Bar, for having us here for the whole of season 2. Eagle Bar is one of my favourite bars in Manchester and a great space for the kink community. We also want to do a quick shout out as well to today's episode sponsor, which is Twisted Beast. Twisted Beast is a queer-owned fetish brand based in Manchester and London, specialising in toys and poppers for all your kinky needs. Twisted Beast ships all around the world and has a safe delivery guarantee. Plus, no pesky complications with customs to make sure you can get straight down to having fun. Give them a follow on Instagram at Twisted Beast Store to stay up to date with all the latest news. Plus, use code RUBBERROOM on your next order to get 20% off poppers and 15% off toys. The Rubber Room is first and foremost a community space, and throughout season 2, we wanted to speak to some of our favourite kinky advocates here on the scene. This week, I'm very pleased to introduce one of my good friends. You may have realised over the last few episodes that I've been talking a lot about an event that I co-host in Manchester, and really pleased to introduce the other host of that event, the founder and one of the main leading lads of ClubLocked, which is Bellus. Woo!
The leading lads. Woo! But before we start, it's time for Know Your Code! This season, we're educating the people on the hanky code and its importance in the kink community. Today's colour is red, and this one's a handful. Red represents fisting, so be sure to grab plenty of lube because it's time to slip and slide that hand inside. For the more experienced holes, a little elbow grease can go a long way. Was that one a bit of a stretch? And that's it for Know Your Code! Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Bellus, would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, I suppose that your first choices weren't here, so you got down to me on the list. My name's Bellus, general kinkster. I founded ClubLocked. I suppose, if I had a kink profile, what would I say? Dom bottom, which I suppose is a bit of an enigma in itself. I will tie you up, slap you about, and then ride you till you come.
Sounds wonderful.
That does sound good. Yeah.
And Bellus, my first question to you is, why do you see yourself as an advocate of kink, if you do, that is?
Oh, an advocate of kink. I love kink. I love the community that comes with kink. I think more than anything, kinksters are an especially welcoming group. And I really love the fact that due to being kinksters, everyone's already broken through those sort of like social norms and those social barriers. And as such, I think they're a lot more opening, a lot more welcoming, and they're a hugely friendly bunch. So I love being a kinkster for that reason.
Yeah, I do think being kinky gives you an edge in some respects because you've already had to do a fair bit of work understanding yourself. So you have a better idea of people generally, and you're then finding people that match with you. You have to spend more time communicating with people if you're doing it right. So there's something to be said about that.
It's almost like a second coming out, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
You kind of have to admit that to yourself, have to admit that to other people. And then you're on that journey together and you're kind of exploring that together with people.
Yeah, well, I figured out I was kinky before I figured out I was gay. I knew I liked like spandex and stuff. And then I was looking at pictures of women in it. I'm like, meh, maybe I'll look at the men. And that slippery slope.
No, I feel that. I resonate with what you're saying about almost a coming out as well. For me, I've had 3 coming outs in my life, which was being gay, being ADHD, and being kinky. And I think each one of those has come with its own journey where you've kind of explored a lot about yourself. You've kind of reflected on sort of how that's kind of shaped you up to that point. And also, as you've said as well, it's a lot about exploration of what you like, what you don't like. And I think myself and yourself have actually played before as well. And I think what I've really appreciated is you introducing me to the kink community as well, and obviously sharing a lot of your experience with me, and that's made me a lot more confident too. So is that something that you like doing quite a lot, is like helping others also explore this space?
Well, yes, because I think, so the way I see it, like two people or more people sometimes, bring equal parts of that chemistry to each meet. So I don't think you can go into like any meet going, oh, like I've completed this, I've ticked this off, I know what I'm doing. I think everything is always like a bit of a learning exercise. And I think you need to really go into that like expecting that there are going to be bits different to stuff that you've already done before. Selfishly, like I think that helps me become better for the next meet. So I'm always a little bit proud of that. But equally, like, so there's a whole range of people you can play. If you're playing with someone new, then it's about like teaching them safety. It's about making sure that they're enjoying themselves and showing that fun side of things. If you're playing with someone that's more experienced, about seeing what you can take from that and like enhance your own self with. So very much into playing with many people.
Yeah. Would you say that you're quite an experienced kinkster at this point then?
Oh, am I experienced? I have had some great experiences, yes. Some people might call me a slut.
No, he's called me a slut numerous times on this podcast.
Well, just because of the stories you tell and the way you behave.
Yeah, which is valid. So.
I say it's a bit of a badge of pride. I'm quite fortunate to be a slut. I've not always been a slut, but I do like being able to be one.
Yeah, no, it's great fun. I say it because I'm not doing it, so I'm bitter. That's why I call you a slut.
No, and I love being called a slut. I think reclaiming the word and what it means, and it's, as you said, a badge of honor. I'm quite proud to be someone that's going out and really embracing my kinkiness, but also sharing that with others as well. So
I don't know. Like I read the questions that Harry sent, but I've deleted that information from my brain. No offense. But so, how did Locked come about then?
Oh, okay. So Locked was created about 7 years ago. Actually, there's a whole story with this. So when I went to my first kink event, I had two questions and both terrified me equally. Okay. And the first question was, oh my God, what if it turns into an orgy? Yeah. And I wasn't ready for it. I was like, oh, no, I don't know. And my second question that, again, equally terrified me was, oh, my God, what if it doesn't turn into an orgy? And I could not reconcile myself. I could not work out what I wanted more. And I suppose a bit horniness probably had a little bit of sway as to what I was going to do. But obviously, you never know what you're going to be like on the day. You never know what the difference between what fantasy is to what real life is. So I tried to create an event that could allow you to do as much of either one as you wanted. We're going to mention this loads and loads upon this podcast. You've already mentioned it at the beginning. That's one of the reasons why I agreed to come onto this. Safety and consent is one of my main passions. Okay, so I truly believe that when you've got that level of safety, you've got that level of mutual consent with someone, kink becomes that much better, okay? And so one of the core reasons for wanting to set up a kink community, because it's not just about the one club night, it's about the things that we do outside of it, is about being able to create lasting relationships, lasting friendships with other kinksters. I suppose like no one really goes to their first kink event with your group of friends, as we talked about. It's another coming out situation, isn't it? So again, I wanted to focus on something that allows people to come on their own, where they meet people and then they know that other people know and see who they are as well.
Do you think that that's one of the defining features of Lock compared to other events then? It's very much for people who are being introduced to kink or wanting to meet friends or just kind of create a sense of community then? Would you say that's kind of the direction of that kind of event?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the guiding principles of Locked, I suppose, is that it is a place that people can come, and it's supposed to be friendly for beginners. So they can come, and it's supposed to be like, if it's their first time, it's meant to feel welcoming. It's meant to teach best practice. It's meant to be inclusive. But equally, we also try to keep it interesting for those that are perhaps more advanced, which is why we have some guided parts of the event, and that's like where me and you co-host these bits and pieces. We have the vac bed, we have the wheel, and that's much more guided with a figurehead that you can automatically trust. But equally then we have the equipment that's out in the main space, and obviously crochet corner. Don't know what happens in crochet corner.
It's still a mystery.
But yeah, we have crochet corner for those that are perhaps feeling a little bit more confident at the event, a bit more adventurous, and want to go out and a bit more on their own.
And do you just thinking as well about the people that do keep coming back? Like, what do you think it is, based on your opinion, that keeps people coming back? Is it the people? Is it the equipment? Is it the vibe?
I definitely think it's the people, and I'm completely biased. I think we've got the best community of kinksters in our group. I'm really, really fortunate to know the people that come to Locked and that are part of that community. And yeah, for no second do I believe that it's not due to them that people keep coming back.
That is one thing that I think we need to emphasise, and it does get lost, and we say it every episode. It's the community. Like, I've been kinky my entire life, but until I found people that were of a similar mind, I wasn't able to explore it fully. I was doubting myself. You get all in your head about, because like if you're into some weird shit, that takes some time to figure it out, and it's nice to have someone say, yeah, no, I get it. So definitely, I do need to. I haven't been to Locked because I live far away and I have no money.
There's no excuse.
Well, it's a very good excuse, but I need to make it to one because I'd like to. It sounds like my kind of vibe.
Yeah, I think you'd love
it. It's on the list.
Yeah, we'll get you along to the next one.
Quick plug for that. We have timed it specifically so that you can get the last train home and you don't have to pay for a hotel.
See, no excuse.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I think what an interesting dynamic. I've spoken about this on the pod before about how I've hosted events and we kind of tag team it, which is always great fun. I'm curious from your perspective and share with the audience, what is it like to be a host and to be in that moment where all eyes are on you, you're there like getting people into vac beds and dealing out punishments and things like that. Like what's the feeling like for yourself?
Oh, I'm really going to be pulling behind the curtain on this answer, actually. So sorry to anyone that I might be trying to keep the secret from. It's a lot of effort, okay, but it's a lot of fun. For those that have been to the event before, it all looks a little bit chaotic, but it's all designed to be that way. So there is absolutely some performance aspects to what we're doing. For example, if you spin the wheel of misfortune, it looks like it's going to land on something random, but we are constantly in communication with people before they spin the wheel to say, look, consent is a massive part of what we do. Yeah, if you don't want it to land on something, I don't want it to land on something. So they let us know, and then you'll see me, and sometimes it just looks like I'm being really nonchalant and choosing something on the wheel for someone, but actually that's because that's what they've asked me for. So while we try and keep that illusion going of and don't get me wrong, a lot of people will say, "Oh, just spin it and let's see what it lands on," and that's always amazing. But it's about being safe, being consensual in what we do as well. So for me, the favorite, like my favorite part of being on stage is that like welcoming someone in and helping them to realize, actually, look. Any form of like dom sub and how that plays out is a partnership, and it's really nice when people start making that connection. I think, I've made a real impression.
Yeah, I think it is really important that for a place like Locked, which is probably the first experience for a lot of kinksters going out. Like I know a lot of them use it as like a introduction into the village and the community. That we're sort of setting the standards as to what happens in the world of kink and setting those boundaries, limits, communication, like all of these aspects. So I think it's great that we have a space that we can obviously practice a lot of these kinks in a very safe way where people are obviously being looked after throughout the night, and also giving them access to so many kinks they probably wouldn't have access to. Like not everyone's going to have a vac bed in their bedroom, are they? So that's always quite enjoyable to give them that freedom to try things that maybe be restrictive because of space or cost or all of those as well.
And what you said about like the illusion, but you're controlling the show, like that. Kink is all play. It's role play. Yeah. Like no one's actually gonna lock you up for 7 hours unless you want to be locked up for 7 hours, and it's all a fantasy that we're indulging in. But the point is, you have to lay it all out beforehand, and you have to be very open and upfront and communicate what you want and need. Which is the point we're making every single episode. They're gonna get tired of hearing it, but some people need to hear it, so we're gonna keep bashing it on the head. And then you have to buy into the theatre of it and the illusion and the play, but you have to do the work beforehand, which is...
Absolutely, yeah. Communication is, I suppose, the golden rule, really. As a dom myself, I find that, look, this is a two-way street. Like, for me to feel comfortable domming you, I need to know that you can communicate to me. The last thing that I want as a dom is for me to be doing something to a sub, and for them not to be able to communicate, A, whether or not they enjoy it, or B, whether or not they don't enjoy it. Because if they don't enjoy it, I don't want to do it. Okay, what we do, however that manifests itself, is meant for the enjoyment of both parties. So yeah, communication, key one.
My next question, if we move away from Locked for a bit, I want to know more about you, Bellus, and I'm sure the audience are dying to know as well. What would you say are your top 3 kinks? You've already described yourself as a dom bottom. Is that a kind of a hint as to the world of behind the bedroom door?
The world behind the bedroom door that's also spilled out into the spare room and the living room and the kitchen and into Eagle. Right, so let's have a think. My top kinks, if I can only pick 3, and we have I'm reducing quite a major list here. Okay, 2 that are synonymous with each other are bondage and edging. Okay, and I find this is a really great way. I get to experience a lot of first timers. Okay, so a lot of people that are being introduced to kink. And I find that one of the nicest introductory kinks that I can do is bondage with them and a little bit of edging. Okay, it gets to get them to really push their limits, as well as start to explore that whole role play aspect of things. Getting them to say, "Oh, look, I want to come," and like, it's my choice now. It's not your choice. I typically love rope work, but actually we've invested in a Segifix recently, and my rope has stayed in my cupboard since. I absolutely adore my Segifix.
For the people at home that don't know what that is, aka myself, what is a Segifix?
You don't know a Segifix?
No, I've not heard of that before.
Okay, so a Segifix is an exceptionally professional piece of kit, and it's meant for restraining people. So you can, and depending on how much of it you buy, it can do over the shoulders, arms, wrists, legs, waist, knees, ankles, but it's really comfortable as well, and it locks with like a magnetic lock. And this is one of my favorite mental things to do with someone. I get them to put that lock on, and it's literally you just slip it on. You can't take it off without the special key. So I get them to put it on. I'm like, now take it off, and they're like, I can't take it off. I'm like, good. At least you're aware of what we're doing here. It's an amazing piece of kit. The company is called Segifix, a German company, and it's just such high quality piece. Like I say, it's replaced my rope work entirely.
Yeah, I've seen some bits of that on like serious male bondage and that kind of stuff. It is a proper bit of kit. Yeah, and it's like there's loads of different like adjustable for sizes and stuff. So you can, if you've got thicker biceps or whatever, or massive thighs, you can go on to the next notch. But it's a very well set up.
Yeah. I think it's really nice as well, the point you said about showing them the mechanics, the locks and all of that, because I think that's really important, especially like when I'm in the space of being a dom as well. You like to give them that understanding about what's happening to also help them explore. And if so be it at some point you do what I did and change from being a sub to being more dom, at least I know the ropes then, as it were. So making sure that I'm fully aware as to what needs to happen if I'm on the other side and how I need to look after somebody else. Because I think it's the more that you can experience things yourself. It's the same when like I've experienced fisting and things like that. It's really useful for me to be a fist bottom, so I'm a better fist top, and vice versa. So
I think that actually transcends most things. So like across the whole realm of like BDSM, often people will switch from one to another as they sort of find themselves. I started my life as a sub as well, so I'm very biased in towards the fact that I believe that subs make the best doms. You know what you experience, you know how to provide a better experience for your subs. That's not to say that someone that's always been dom in their life is a lesser, but yeah, I think that happens quite a lot. Same thing happened with me with fisting as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
you need to get his third one. He said bondage.
we very much hinted that fisting is definitely my third favourite kink.
So as a dom bottom, are you making them fist you, or are you fisting them, or both?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and that is mostly my answer when it comes to anything kink. Which one? Or no, both. So as a dom bottom, I find when people want to learn how to fist as a top, I can provide that space where I'm very
Provide
much
that
still
space.
Yeah, quite literally. I'm very much still in control of what I'm asking them to do. So we're like enhancing our communication exercises while also making sure that they're doing something that's safe and not going to damage anyone. But equally, as a top, and I do love being a fist top as well, I can just give them a really good time.
If I think I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but you've taken my fisting virginity. What would you say are the best tips for someone that's looking to take a fist? Because it's not easy. It's a lot of mental headspace, a lot of preparation, taking time and patience. But what would you, because you gave me some great advice, but what advice would you give to people listening?
Oh, advice for people listening. Fisting is 95% solo play. Okay, you can't go from not having anything large in your butt to a fist. It's just not possible. There are connections that your brain needs to make while your arse is feeling what it's feeling. And like you have to get your brain to go, oh, what I'm doing here is okay. It's not going to damage me. And so, like I said, the biggest piece of advice I can give is it's 95% solo play. You have to know your own body and what your own body's limits are. Equally, communication, will come back to this all the time. I find that when I am working with a fist bottom, sometimes they still have to make that connection themselves. As a first fist myself, sometimes I let them fist me. I think that's what happened with you, wasn't it? Like I let you fist me, so your brain makes that connection. It's like, oh, this is possible. And I find that always helps, especially if you're like close to that really end bit. That always helps them just get past that last bit. Equally, it's about like the reality of fisting is quite different to what you might see in most videos. Like we're not about to go in and start punching. Okay, it's quite an intimate thing. Like I see it as very intimate, very personal, and that's often a slower pace and a softer pace.
I remember our session when that happened, we were taking hours, and I think that's what I liked as well, is there wasn't any pressure to get it in. Whereas I feel like with other people, it's almost been like this expectation, like, okay, hurry up and let's get on with what they're there for, which is to get the hand in. But I think what was nice is when we were doing it is very much you take it at your own time. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But obviously, if it does, then come by our wonderful praise the Lord.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think then since then that's really helped with my wider journey, and even just being a better bottom as well, because there's so many good tips there around how you can get out of your head. And that was something that I struggled with for quite a few years until I was like 21, not being able to bottom. So a lot of the tips from fisting I've actually applied to other aspects of being a bottom as well. So
Excuse me. Two things you raised there. The going slow on for hours. I get in my head so much if things are going on too long. I'm very much like I mentioned before, I need to be constantly distracted. I need something more going on. So I'd find that very difficult. And also the idea of a fist going up my ass breaks my brain. Like I cannot compute it because I mean there's work to be done. Like I'm not even sure it's something. I'm vaguely curious, but you know it's just that those are things that I can understand people thinking that's insane.
Right, let's be fair, like fisting is still somewhat taboo, isn't it? Because of that reason, people are like, oh my God, if you can be fisted, you're going to become incontinent, you're going to shit yourself and things like that. And that's absolutely not the case. I try and explain this to people as almost like learning to do the splits, okay? People that can do the splits, that doesn't prevent them from being able to walk. They can just do something extra that the majority of people can't do. And it's very much about getting into that headset of being able to relax yourself in a way that you can take that. It doesn't then necessarily break you for something else.
Yeah. That's just like relaxing isn't something I do. I can do it on my own, as in I can lay on a sofa for 6 hours and do nothing. If that's relaxing.
Yeah.
But that's where a lot of my stuff...
I'm always in that debate of do I want a chill night in or do I want to be fisted fuck? So yeah, it's always a hard debate.
It's work and it's just, I find that very difficult to... it's about, not momentum, what's the word? Not maintenance. Motivation. It's about motivation.
One of the
and you want to be doing it and you've got to put the time and the work in.
Yeah.
And helpful if you've got good friends to help you there.
Yeah. I think what also helps with the headspace as well is, as you said, I think having some quality personal time, using toys. I know when I was starting out, I was trying to just stretch myself. And then also I think poppers can help as well if it's something that you're interested in. Just helps you kind of get out of that mental headspace and sort of clears it. It gets you more into that excitable, horny mood as well. And you kind of forget about the specifics of having a hand in your hole and actually just there enjoying the feeling as well. So, which I want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors for today's episode, Twisted Beast. They do a wide range of poppers and toys. Please do go check them out. I was curious about this as well. Do you enjoy using poppers? Is that something you do a lot? Or?
I love poppers, okay? And I suppose, especially for fisting, there are different poppers will do different things for you as well. So look, if you're going to start exploring into poppers, my recommendation is try the different formulas that you have available. You have typically in our country, you have things like isopropyl, you have amyl, you have pentyl. Each one of them will do a different thing for you. And while pentyl for me might do one thing, for you it might do something else. So absolutely, explore them, see what different varieties there are, and see which ones work for you.
Yeah, I think everyone has their own preference. I think that's what I've quite enjoyed about poppers. The first time I did it, I was like, it gave me a headache, hated it, clearly don't like poppers. And then someone's like, oh no, just try another type. And then I tried that, I was like, oh, actually, that's really smooth. It's very slow. It's not like as quick to fill your head. So I think definitely don't be put off by the first one you try. There's so many different formulas and types. And I think it's just about finding something that works for you. So.
And you see, this again brings back to the other thing we're always saying about community. Because the first time I did it, I was ill at the time. I had like a sickness bug or something, so I did the pops and I just had a really bad headache, and I've not touched them since. And I've not had the opportunity to try them since. But again, if it was like a weekend in Manchester where the opportunities were just popping up, and you're like, oh, well, come over for 4 hours and we'll see what's happening. Those are the things that you need that help with that kind of thing. So it is about, as much as it is about, knowing yourself, it's also about knowing the right people, finding the right places. There's a lot of work that goes into being a practicing kinkster.
I know, yeah. A lot of effort, time, money, resource, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
I would caveat as well that poppers are a mood enhancer.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't rely on them to make you then feel horny. Like, you need to be horny. You'd need to trust the person that you're with before trying them. Otherwise, it's not going to do very much for you.
That's some great advice as well. Cool. I want to move away from talking about kinks and more back onto you, Bellus. What would you say is your biggest achievement in your time in the kink community? Has there been any defining moment that you're like, that's something I'm really proud of?
If we take Locked as red.
Locked as red.
I mean, it could be locked.
That was my answer.
It could be locked, but there might be other things as well.
Can I talk about my partner?
Yeah.
My partner is definitely my defining moment in my kink community. I'm in my kink journey. I'm really fortunate that I managed to find a partner that's also a kinkster, and he very much completes me. I know I'm going to get really soppy and emotional about him.
We don't do that here.
No. I love him. He is the best mixture of kinky, horny little bastard and cuddly little smush. So if I'm going to define myself by anything, it'd be him.
Yeah.
Oh, you big pop.
Yeah.
How have you found it having a relationship in the kink community? Do you think that it's been restrictive or actually more opening up to new possibilities? Or?
I love this question. And actually, this is a question that I'm asked mostly, but I'm going to use the term normies just to mean kinksters that haven't yet found their kinks.
Yeah.
And
it's a spectrum, guys. Everyone's on it.
Yes. And a lot of people ask me, like, what is it like having a kinky boyfriend? And I suppose there are some differences between my relationship and other more traditional relationships. We're open. And we never had that conversation about our partnership being closed or open. For us, it was just open. That's just who we are, and it's just the way that we are. I definitely feel that an open relationship for us allows us to explore more without like the constraints of trust with each other. Maybe that's not a good way of saying it. I think because we're open, we have more trust, without the constraints of trust issues. Okay. One of the, selfishly, he goes and he plays with some really good edges, and then I get some tips, and that helps me because one of my passions is edging, guys. And so, between us, we can feed each other tips and tricks, and it keeps our sex life alive. And
do you feel that you have quite a good alignment of your kinks, or do you find that there's things that you both want to explore outside of each other?
Oh, we're not aligned on every single kink that we have. I really like fisting. For him, he doesn't mind it, but he's not passionate about it. So I will normally go and fist with other people. He is very much a fan of edging, which is great for me. But equally, sometimes I don't have the energy to keep edging him as much as he wants. So he gets to go and play with other people. We both started our kink life as pups as well, so we both have that in common, and we both kind of have that playfulness with each other as a result of that.
My next question is there something in the kink community that you wish people talked about more? Is there any topic or conversation that isn't talked about much that you wish you can bring to space on this podcast and get people talking about more?
Ooh,
it's a thinker.
That is a thinker. The role play aspect of what we're doing, especially for newer kinksters. Dom, sub, and any form that takes is a mutual exchange, okay? And as a learner coming into that, or a brand new person coming into that, that's not always obvious, that actually the Dom is almost as vulnerable as the sub, like maybe not in the situations that they're in, but in what they bring to that situation. We come back to this whole aspect of communication with each other. I feel sometimes that new people can come into this space and they automatically expect that a Dom is just going to take them by the reins and just do things to them without having had to do that aspect of communication. And equally, I feel that subs sometimes put themselves in unnecessary positions where they expect that to happen to them. And I think the best Dom-sub relationships come out of a blossoming friendship, a blossoming mutually shared interest and communication.
Yeah. Well, I always like a lot of, especially new kinksters coming into the scene, will have seen porn. And a lot of porn it is an act, so you miss a lot of it out. But what I really enjoy is kink.men or bound gods or one of those. At the beginning of their videos, they have the two actors sat together and they say, this is what he's going to do to you, this is what's going to happen, and they just run through it all and talk about how excited they are to get into it. So they are they're demonstrating the communication at the top before they even get into the smut, so that they can show people that this is what you do. You make sure everyone's on board with everything that's going to go on, and then you jump into the play.
Yes. And I suppose it's, let's bring in a terminology that we use. We use the term scenes in kink to mean fucks or whatever it is that you're doing in that scene. And there is a clearly, maybe not clearly defined start or clearly defined end, but you go through that process of going into that scene, exploring within that scene and coming out of that scene as well. That the end of the scene shouldn't be the end of the experience. There should be like a start and a wrap up and a look. We've been pushing your boundaries. We've been pushing your limits almost. Let's bring you back into that safe space and let's bring back into that normality of like who we are as people.
Yeah, I think the aftercare is so important because it's probably quite an intense experience. Like, as I was saying, like the first time that I took my fist, I think after that my legs were shaking uncontrollably, not sure what the fuck had just happened. So it's quite nice to then like have a shower together, like just cuddle for a bit, like just chill, watch some TV. Like I think that is so important rather than just kicking you out the door and being like, right, you're done. I think that really helps, bring it back to reality, kind of saying, look, something's just happened. It was an amazing moment, but we also now just need to like make sure that everybody's okay and we're all here. Yeah, we're all back together before you head off, and I think that's always quite nice as well. So awesome. What about what would you say has been the biggest challenge in the kink community? Is there anything you found particularly difficult in your time being a kinkster? Anything that you wish you'd done differently? Anything like that?
So some of the difficulties that I find are maybe when consent is not followed. Okay, that can become, and that can be between two people that typically do consent. If that trust gets broken, that can become a real difficult thing. And I suppose it's then like exploring how you move past that with someone that may have broken that with you or with someone else, how you have that reparative conversation, that restorative conversation, and try and leave no lasting damage. I think that's the biggest challenge, being able to do that in a kind, educational, professional way.
I think it's the big differentiator between good kink and bad kink is that sort of what's the intention behind it. It's very much about, are you doing it because you want to have fun and you want to enjoy an experience with somebody else, or are you doing it because you want to get some feelings out, or you're just kind of replicating what you've seen on porn, as you've said, like, but not really thinking about the consequences? Because I think sometimes people just kind of jump straight in and think that that's what it's all about. But underneath all these layers of whether it be spanking or flogging or tying people up or edging and all of this, like, it's always about excitement and enjoyment and love and kindness and respect and all of these things, which you don't see because it's very much a role-playing scenario. Like, I'm not going around my daily life putting on this dom facade being like, get on your knees to my co-workers, am I? So I think that's really important to remember. It is all, at the end of the day, it's kind of this persona, as it were. It's still part of me and who I am as a person. Like, I'd still say that's part of how I identify as a person, but I'm not going around sort of showing off that facade everywhere that I go. I'm adapting to the situations. So
that's just made me think of something that's a little bit off topic, but we were talking about porn. You can tell, now I don't often watch lesbian porn, which might surprise you, but I've heard tell in lesbian porn that there are often actresses in that who have false nails on, and you can tell that they're straight women doing gay for pay, because lesbians who are fingering a lot don't have false nails on.
Well, they always have like one square nail, don't they? Isn't that the thing? You can tell what a lesbian...
Well, it's like, have you seen on, I think it's Return of the Jedi, Carrie Fisher, she puts her hand on Han Solo, on Harrison Ford's shoulder, and one of her nails is longer than the rest because that's her coke nail.
I love it. I need to rewatch that.
It's like, it's much longer than the rest. Yeah.
That's a good fact. I know what I'm watching tonight. Right, my final question, before we just check if there's anything else you want to talk about, is what advice would you give to our listeners? Imagine there's thousands of people, which I hope there are listening today. What would you say to the people listening?
There's at least a couple hundred. We've been doing some good numbers.
To the camera.
Yeah,
what advice do I give? For newbies, for experienced people,
for anyone.
Yeah. Whatever advice you think needs to be heard.
I suppose, look, if you're watching this podcast, you have an interest in kink, whether or not you're actively exploring that or whether or not you're just brand new to this and kind of like wanting to touch the edges. My advice would be, look, come and meet the community. Because they will absolutely fucking love you. Yeah, I can say that on behalf of everyone I know. Yeah, they will fucking love you. If you are in that moment of like jumping into it, come along. Yeah, we'll welcome you with open arms.
I think that's a great message, and definitely second that. I think everybody that I've met has really good intentions of wanting everybody to feel welcome. Obviously, we've said before, we know there's a few bad eggs, but that's the point of the community. Like, everywhere has some bad eggs, but the majority of people are there looking out for you, and they'll make sure that they keep you safe.
Yeah, for sure. And
show you respect.
Like, I'll welcome you too. Though I occasionally come, I like to play the dickhead occasionally. To new people, I'm actually quite nice. It's when you get to know me that I then get meaner. So you've got a good 2 or 3 nights before you start getting annoyed with me. So come join us.
Is there anything else you want to talk about that we haven't spoken about today?
Oh, anything else that we haven't spoken about today that
What was your pup name? Were you just Bellus?
Bellus.
Is that Latin for what?
It's the male version of Bell. It means cute and handsome.
Oh, is that
so it's no longer appropriate. That's why I don't have a pup name anymore. Yeah. Do you know, pup was actually the I fell into pup almost by accident. Okay, this was years ago, and I am very energetic when I meet a new person, and I remember meeting this person, and I was licking them because we'd had a few shandies, and I was licking them and like tickling them and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you have like very pup energy. Like, have you ever explored this before?" And then I ended up playing with them, and we did a little pup scene, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely like, this is me. And I think for those puppers out there, don't be afraid to graduate from that as well, because I think it's a really nice introduction to kink. Just because you go and do something else doesn't mean you have to lose that pup about you, but it's like a really good stepping run to try more kink.
Yeah. I found my pup journey was quite interesting because I started off with rubber, bondage, fisting, all of this. And it's actually only in the last few years that I've become a pup, because I think for ages I was like, that's fun. That's not me. I'm never going to wear a pup hood. So I remember saying that plenty of times. I was like, it's just not going to be for me.
Never say never.
Because in my head, I was just like, it's not, to me, it doesn't seem like a sex thing. It's just sort of like a fun thing.
Yeah.
And then I put one on, which was actually my friend Bad Wolf, who we're actually going to have on this podcast very shortly. But I put it on and I was like, oh my God, this is like really hot. Like the neoprene, the smell, the feel, the fact it was just like, muting all of your
Isolating.
senses. You really get into that headspace. Like I remember that session really well, and ever since then I was like, actually, no, this is now one of my favorite kinks. I think it's a great experience for someone who wants to get into it, and also those people who maybe like overthink things as well. I think that's what I quite enjoy about being a puppy. It just lets you sort of forget about the rest of the world and just enjoy being in the moment, enjoy having a bit of fun and playing around. And I know everyone kind of takes it in different directions. Some prefer more of the play side, some for more of the sort of sex side of it, but it's such a great community. And as you said, I think it then branches off into so many other things.
It is funny how if you take away someone's like ability to speak by making them like a dog or, like a gag, they suddenly become a much better communicator.
Yeah.
Because they can't waffle.
Yeah, and it's about understanding body language as well. Like you try and understand, like,
Okay.
what does that mean? But I think you understand from like
the head tilt,
what they're doing, like how they're moving about, like wagging tails, like all of that stuff. It makes you become a better communicator from both sides as well, because the pup obviously has to try and tell the master or the owner what they want, and then vice versa. So.
Wonderful we just met moments ago. Wonderful to meet you guys.
And you.
Thank you for joining us on the pod.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us again, guys. It's been a pleasure to have you listen to us. I'm Rubber Romeo on Instagram, and you can find us at rubberroom.media on Instagram as well.
I'm Romeo and Kable.
And I've been Bellus. Thank you very much.
Amazing. It's lovely to see everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. See you on the flip side.
Goodbye.
Bye.